Anna Carolina is a 4-year-old girl whose life takes place inside Starship Hospital. She's almost totally paralysed and requires constant care, including dependence on a ventilator to help her breathe. The daily care she's receiving is beyond reproach, but it's in hospital and her mum and dad desperately want her home. They're battling to essentially replicate the care she receives in Starship at home. But that requires DHB support, both medical and financial, and the DHB would prefer Anna Carolina remained in Starship at least for a while longer. Now, the DHB wouldn't talk to us, but we understand they're concerned that Anna Carolina is too unwell for home care. Her mum and dad, Adelaide and Peter, have asked for supported care at home and think the dispute is about the level of care the hospital is able or prepared to provide.
We believe so. We haven't seen a plan. We have no real information. All we've been able to glean is from documents we've received from the Official Information Act requests. So all their planning's been behind closed doors. So we don't really know what they intend.
Because the hospitals say they are not against Anna Carolina coming home, full stop. It's just they want it done under the right terms, right? So what extra help would you need, Elaine, if your beautiful girl comes home?
Anna Carolina has a life support machine 24/7, and she is paralyzed, not completely. She does have movements, but she will require nursing care, 24/7 nursing care.
And so effectively she would need at home what she's currently got at the hospital.
Exactly, yes.
And it's our clear understanding that that's what's offered in like Adelaide, for example, in Australia. It's well documented in the UK and in Canada. I mean, we bring up Adelaide because it's a city very similar in size to Auckland. They have 5 children on ventilators at home, and they all are offered 24/7 nursing care.
With the state paying exactly as is your expectation here?
Yes, they have. We're not exactly sure how their funding model works, but it's obviously they're a public health system. Like here, they have something called a fragile airway program, which manages all children with a tracheostomy. And children with a tracheostomy vary in the degree of care they need. Some need no care at home at all. Others need maybe 8 hours or just overnight care, and others are through the extreme end where Anna Carolina is, where she needs
24/7.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so she's never alone. So right now, for example, you're in here kindly talking to us, and there will be a nurse or someone caring for her in the hospital.
That's right.
And there's always someone with her.
Always.
Yes. And the international, there's an international sort of needs assessment guideline which you fill out and based on a person's requirements, and even the hospital one they manage themselves and produced estimates she needs 160 hours plus of care. So their own tool calculates that. So
160 hours plus.
Well, it's 168 hours is 24 hours.
It's a 7-day week, yeah, right.
Yes. Yeah. So 160. So it's 160 hours or more. So pretty much 24/7.
Yeah. Okay. The hospital's giving her fantastic care at the moment, aren't they? That's not in dispute.
No. I mean, the nurses are excellent. She's obviously thriving, doing very well. We find most of the doctors, especially throughout Starship, and the specialists we've met, and the nurses are excellent. And I mean, there's a small group of, I think, of doctors who we don't see eye to eye with, and unfortunately they seem to be having a lot of control. But in general, the care we get at Starship is excellent.
And why don't you see eye to eye with them? Do they have different ideas about Anna Carolina?
It was very clear early on that they felt that she shouldn't be allowed to live, and that and they basically threatened us that they would take us to court and get her life support taken off. Then they looked at that internally. I think the own ethics committee and the legal team, and we approached lawyers, and in the end they backed away from that scenario. But she has remained trapped there for the last 3 years and been stable. And I think those are the people that are in control, and it's our understanding those are the people also making her long-term decisions. And to us that seems like if that's their perspective and thinking, it colours their thinking going forward and how they're planning, because their focus is on ending her life. Our focus is on improving her life.
Is their focus on ending Anna Carolina's life? Because as I look at it, they're spending well in excess of $1 million a year, yes, caring for her 24 hours a day and giving what looks to me like extraordinary care. I mean, it's the very opposite of wanting to end her life, isn't it?
Yes, well, I mean, they have admitted that they didn't expect her to survive. So I think after they made the decision that they should remove her life support, and we rejected that, their position was they would wait.
Peter and Elaine, thank you. If you're listening on the radio, you won't know that sitting very quietly, unusually quietly, David Seymour, besides Peter and Elaine, as they were speaking, Anna Carolina's mum and dad, is also the local MP, David Seymour, ACT Party leader. Thank you for being here. This is an impasse, isn't it? Because the hospital are giving Anna Carolina the best care they possibly can. And I don't think anyone's disputing that. But it's just mum and dad are saying, hey, we want the same thing at home. How can this stalemate be resolved, David Seymour?
Well, can I just start by saying I've met Anna Carolina many times over the past 18 months, and I think the way to characterise her, she's a little battler who's held on and is actually gradually recovering and getting more movement and more responsiveness as time goes on. She's held on, and I think we should too. The way to resolve it, frankly, from the point of view of the taxpayer, from the family, and especially for Anna Carolina herself, is to allow her to go home, as she would in just about any other country New Zealand likes to compare itself with. What has happened is I've watched this over almost 2 years now. It seems that the ADHB and the doctors and nurses at Starship are wonderful people. If you go in there, they'll fix you up as good as anywhere in the world. But handling this long and complex relationship has been quite challenging for them. And I think what needs to happen now is that we need to put in place a person who is above the ADHB and the Ministry of Health and the various institutions involved in transitioning a child home. We're doing this almost for the first time in New Zealand, and we need to set a deadline for getting a plan in place.
Can I come in there almost for the first time? And that speaks to the seriousness of Anna Carolina's condition, right? And I'm sorry, Mum and Dad, to talk about your beautiful daughter like this in front of you. But is the DHB's caution here, in fact, a direct correlation to the fact that this has never happened before, that this is a seriously unwell girl who needs 24/7 care in a hospital environment?
Well, I think the caution is not really what they've applied. What they've applied over a period of time is a bumbling approach that has led to delay after delay in building trust between the ADHB and the family and putting in place a plan to get her home. So it's not actually a case of win-lose. It could be win-win if the ADHB was able to put a plan in place that was clear and trustworthy to get her home at dramatically lower expense than remaining as she is in the Starship Paediatric Intensive Care Unit.
David Seymour, who was the local MP, and before that, Anna Carolina's mum and dad, Peter and Elaine. What did the DHB say? Well, it said it couldn't comment on Anna Carolina's situation without a privacy waiver. We got that privacy waiver today, but the DHB has refused to be interviewed on Checkpoint. We think that's a pity, because clearly they're doing a very good job of caring for her in hospital. The issue is around care at home. A short time ago, we received a statement from the Auckland DHB Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Margaret Wilshire. She says Starship and the wider DHB are focused on what's best for Anna Carolina, and we've been working to enable her to go home since 2014. Throughout that time, we've consistently tried to involve Peter and Elaine in discussions and decisions on their daughter's current and future care. We appreciate it takes some families longer than others to feel confident they have the training and support to take their child home, and it's never easy transitioning home with a severely disabled child. It's not in Anna Carolina's best interest to remain in hospital, and we remain hopeful that with expert advice we will be able to allay her parents' concerns. It's important to note we have a model in New Zealand for supporting parents caring at home for a severely disabled child who's fully dependent on ventilation. There are currently 185 children receiving various levels of ventilator support at home, including 3 who require continuous ventilation as life support. So that's from Dr. Margaret Wilshire. Of course, Anna Carolina is in the position of requiring continuous ventilation as life support. 3 children who are living at home in those circumstances. 2 quite different takes on the situation Anna Carolina is in.